Gabriel Thornfield pushes open the door to his twins' room. It's 3 in the morning. The mansion, always filled with crying, holds an impossible silence. His eyes widen like saucers. On the polished hardwood floor lies Lucy Martinez, his housekeeper. Asleep, exhausted. On her chest, Bruno. In her arm, Tyler. All three breathe in the same rhythm, as if they were one soul. For the first time in 8 months, those children aren't crying. Gabriel stands motionless. His heart beats like a drum. What is this woman doing with his babies? And why do they seem at peace? A tear rolls down Lucy's cheek as she sleeps. It's no coincidence. It's the memory of something she lost, and that perhaps, that night, she found again. If this story already touched your heart in this first minute, subscribe to the channel. Here you'll find stories that heal, inspire, and make you believe in human goodness again. What you're about to discover will change how you understand love. Because sometimes, angels come into our lives disguised as people we think are invisible. This is the story of Gabriel, a man who had everything, except the one thing his children needed, and of Lucy, a woman who had nothing, but who kept the most valuable treasure in the world in her heart. Gabriel Thornfield's mansion rose like a fortress of glass and steel in the hills of Upper East Side Manhattan. 40 rooms, 5 floors, gardens that looked like they came from a magazine. But no matter how beautiful it was, that house sounded hollow, like its owner's heart. Gabriel walks through the hallways in his $3,000 suit and Italian shoes that sound against the marble like funeral bells. His gray eyes, which once shone with love, are now like frosted glass. 8 months ago, Isabella left. His wife, his only connection to human warmth. She died giving life to Bruno and Tyler. The delivery was complicated, the doctors had told him. She chose to save them. Since then, Gabriel hasn't been able to look at his children without feeling the air escape from his lungs. Every time he sees them, he hears Isabella's last breath. Every time they cry, it's as if they're asking him why their mother isn't there. The twins cry. They always cry. 12 nannies have passed through that house. The last one quit a week ago. "Mr. Thornfield," she had said while packing her things, "those children don't cry from hunger or diapers. They cry for something none of us can give them." Gabriel watches Bruno and Tyler through the glass of the nursery. They're red from screaming so much. Their little fists beat the air as if fighting ghosts. He doesn't go in. He never goes in when they cry. Because every time he does, he feels like he's drowning. What was it that the children needed and no nanny could give them? The answer was closer than Gabriel imagined. Lucy Martinez arrives at 6 in the morning on bus route 42. She wears the same navy blue uniform as always, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, and in her hands, weathered by domestic work, she holds a small bag with her breakfast, toast and herbal tea. She's 31 years old, but her eyes carry the weariness of someone who has lived much more. She's been a widow for 3 years. Her husband died in a construction accident. Since then, she alone supports her daughter Camilla, who's 16. Camilla studies at night and works weekends at a bakery. She dreams of being a nurse. "To help people like you help me, Mom," she always tells her. Lucy cleans 4 houses a day. Gabriel's is the first. She arrives when everyone's sleeping and leaves before they wake up. She's invisible. A ghost who leaves everything perfect and disappears. But today is different. While mopping the second-floor hallway, she hears something that stops her cold. The heartbreaking cry of the twins. A cry that seems to come from the soul. Lucy leaves the mop leaning against the wall. Her feet carry her almost without thinking toward the baby's room. The door is open. Bruno and Tyler are in their cribs with red faces wet with tears. Lucy looks toward the hallways. There's no one. Gabriel must be in his office, with the door closed, as always. She approaches slowly. "Hello, little ones," she whispers with a broken voice. The babies turn their little heads toward her. For an instant, They stop crying, as if they recognized something familiar. Lucy extends her hands. Bruno grabs her index finger with his tiny fingers. Tyler does the same. "You're looking for your mommy, aren't you?" she tells them with moist eyes. "I also looked for mine for a long time." Without thinking, Lucy lifts Bruno, then Tyler. She cradles them against her chest. And then she does something she hasn't done in years. She sings. "Sleep now, my darling baby. The stars are shining bright, and in their arms of silver, sweet dreams will hold you tight." It's the same song she sang to Camilla when she was a baby, the same one her own mother sang to her. The twins stop crying completely. Lucy sits in the rocking chair by the window. The babies snuggle against her as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Outside, dawn paints the sky in soft colors. For the first time in 8 months, Bruno and Tyler sleep in peace. And Lucy, exhausted by emotion and from sleepless nights caring for her own daughter when she was small, falls asleep too. But someone else had been watching. And what Gabriel would discover that early morning would change everything forever. 3 days later. "This is completely inappropriate, Mr. Thornfield." Dr. Janet Valdez's voice cuts through the air like a knife. She's 45 years old, perfectly styled blonde hair, and wears a gray suit that makes her look more like an executive than a child psychologist. Gabriel sits behind his mahogany desk. Between them, on the table, is a 15-page report. "The children have developed an obsessive attachment to this housekeeper," Janet continues, pronouncing the last word as if it were something dirty. "It's dangerous. She's emotionally manipulating them." Gabriel frowns. "Doctor, for the first time in 8 months, my children sleep through the night. They eat well. They don't cry. How can that be bad?" "Because it's not natural," Janet responds coldly. "This woman has no training. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's creating a toxic dependency." Gabriel had hired Janet 2 weeks ago, after 4 previous child psychologists failed to help with the twins. Janet had arrived with impeccable references and an impressive resume. She had worked with wealthy families throughout America. Her method was strict, scientific, based on rigid routines. But Gabriel didn't know something important about her. Janet had lost her own child 5 years ago, an accident at the park. Since then, she had become obsessed with saving other children. But her concept of salvation was taking absolute control over their lives. "My professional recommendation," says Janet while adjusting her glasses, "is that you fire this employee immediately. I'll take charge of implementing a controlled detachment program." Gabriel feels something strange in his chest, a resistance he doesn't understand. "The children look for her with their eyes when she's not here," he murmurs. "Exactly. That confirms my diagnosis." Janet opens her briefcase and takes out some documents. "Here's my intervention plan. 6 months of intensive therapy. No contact with external elements that might interfere." That afternoon, Gabriel calls Lucy to his office. She enters with her head down, twisting a cloth in her hands. She knows what's coming. "Lucy," says Gabriel without looking her in the eyes, "Dr. Valdez considers that your presence with the children might be confusing for them." Lucy nods slowly. A tear rolls down her cheek. "I understand, sir," she whispers. "Do you want me to quit?" "No," Gabriel responds quickly. Just stay away from the baby's room. The doctor will take care of them now." Lucy nods again and leaves the office without saying a word. That night, the twins cry again. Janet implements her controlled detachment program, strict schedules, zero emotional contact, conditioning techniques. Bruno and Tyler's screams echo throughout the mansion. Gabriel locks himself in his office with whiskey and classical music at full volume. But in the service room, at the back of the house, Lucy cries silently, listening to the babies she can no longer console. However, someone had left a hidden truth that was about to come to light. A truth that would change everything Gabriel thought he knew. A week later. Gabriel hasn't slept in days. The twins' screams pierce through the mansion walls like knives. Not even whiskey manages to silence the sound. Janet insists it's part of the process. The children are learning to self-regulate, she tells him every morning with that cold smile. In a few more weeks, they'll be completely emotionally independent. But Gabriel feels something is terribly wrong. That afternoon, while Janet is in the baby's room implementing another of her techniques, Gabriel decides to go up to the attic. He hasn't set foot in that place for 8 months. Isabella's things are there. Boxes and boxes of memories he didn't have the courage to review. Her clothes, her books, her watercolor paintings, the letters she wrote but never sent. Gabriel opens the first box with trembling hands, and there, in a yellow envelope with his name written in Isabella's delicate handwriting, he finds something that makes his world shake. For Gabriel, if something happens to me during delivery, Gabriel's hands tremble as he opens the letter. My love, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't stay to take care of our babies. I know you feel lost. I know you think you don't know how to be a father without me. But I want to tell you something I discovered during these last months of pregnancy. Do you remember Lucy, the housekeeper who cleans our house? The quiet woman in the blue uniform. You never pay attention to her, but I do. 3 months ago, when I fainted in the kitchen, she was the one who helped me. She took care of me until you came home from work. And that day we talked. Gabriel, that woman lost a baby. She had a child before Camilla. A boy who was born premature and died after a few days. She never got to say goodbye to him. She never got to sing him lullabies. When she told me her story, I saw something in her eyes. A maternal love that hasn't been able to heal. A protective instinct that hasn't been able to use. If something happens to me, Gabriel, she's going to appear in our children's lives. She won't plan it. It will just happen. Because true maternal love doesn't understand social classes or surnames. Trust her. I also must tell you something about Dr. Janet Valdez. I know she's famous, but investigate her past. There's something they haven't told you. Her method isn't therapy, Gabriel. It's control. Our babies won't need rigidity. They'll need love. The kind of love that only someone who has lost a child can give. Lucy has that love stored away, waiting. Please, don't keep her away from them. With all my eternal love, Isabella P.S. In the blue box, there are audio recordings I made during my consultations with Janet. Listen to them. You need to know who she really is. Gabriel drops the letter. His hands tremble violently. With desperate haste, he looks for the blue box. Inside, he finds an old digital recorder. He presses play. Isabella's voice fills the attic. Doctor, I don't want that emotional separation you're proposing. Isabella, you don't understand. Babies must learn from an early age that their parents aren't omnipresent. I manage the maternal bond better than any natural mother. But doctor, I feel like you want, how can I say it, to take the mother's place. Isabella, I don't take places. I optimize them. A biological mother is full of insecurities and fears. I'm objective, scientific. I can give your children what you could never give them, real emotional stability. There are more recordings. In each one, Janet sounds more obsessive, more convinced that she's a better mother than any real mother. In the last recording, Isabella sounds scared. Gabriel, if you're listening to this, it means I was right. Janet isn't a doctor. She's a broken woman who wants to steal babies legally. Don't let her near our children. Gabriel turns off the recorder. Now he understands everything. The twins' screams, which can be heard from below, pierce his soul in a different way. They're not crying from whim. They're crying because they feel they've been separated from the person who came to love them as their mother would have loved them. Gabriel runs down the stairs, but it was already too late. Janet had set in motion a plan that could separate the twins from Gabriel forever. The next day, 8 a.m. Gabriel hasn't slept at all. He spent the entire night reading about Janet Valdez online. What he discovered froze his blood. Janet had been investigated in Chicago for questionable methods with minors. 3 families had reported her for trying to alienate children from their parents. In Boston, a mother had accused her of psychological kidnapping. But Janet had powerful connections. Expensive lawyers. The complaints always disappeared. Gabriel is reviewing the legal documents when he hears cars arriving at the mansion's gate. He looks out the window. 2 black SUVs. Janet gets out of the first, accompanied by 2 men in gray suits with briefcases. From the second car, 3 women in Child Protective Services uniforms get out. Gabriel feels the ground shake beneath his feet. They ring the doorbell insistently. "Mr. Thornfield!" shouts Janet from outside. "Open the door! We have a court order!" Gabriel runs toward the twins' room. Janet is no longer there. She must have gone down to receive her team. Bruno and Tyler are crying inconsolably in their cribs. "Easy, my children," Gabriel whispers as he lifts them for the first time in weeks. "Daddy's here." The twins calm slightly, feeling his arms, but continue whimpering. Gabriel takes them to his office and locks the door. Outside, he hears authoritative voices. "Mr. Thornfield, we have reports of child neglect. If you don't open, we're going to force entry." Gabriel takes out his phone and dials a number. "Lucy, it's Gabriel. I need you to come immediately. And bring everything you have about your work history, certificates, references, everything." "Sir, Lucy, they're going to try to take my children away, and the only person who can help me is you." 30 minutes later, Lucy arrives running with a plastic bag full of documents. Gabriel opens the mansion's back door for her. "What's happening?" she asks with frightened eyes. "Janet brought government people. She says I'm a negligent father and my children are in danger." At that moment, there's a crash. They've forced the front door. "Mr. Thornfield, come out with the minors." Gabriel takes Lucy's hand. "I need you to help me prove that you're the only person who can care for my children." Lucy looks at the twins in Gabriel's arms. Bruno extends his little arms toward her. Without hesitating, Lucy takes him. Immediately, the baby stops crying and rests his little head on her shoulder. Tyler does the same. "They recognize her," Gabriel murmurs in amazement. "Because I love them," Lucy responds simply. The voices approach. Gabriel opens his office door. There's Janet, flanked by Child Protective Services officials and 2 lawyers. "Gabriel," says Janet with false sweetness, "don't make this more difficult. The children need professional care." "Professional like yours?" Gabriel responds, taking out Isabella's recorder. "Do you want to hear my wife's confessions about Dr. Valdez's true methods?" Janet turns pale. Gabriel presses play. Isabella's voice fills the room. "Janet isn't a doctor. She's a broken woman who wants to steal babies legally." The officials look at each other, confused. "These recordings have no legal validity," says Janet, but her voice trembles. "But this does," says Lucy, taking documents from her bag. "Here are my certificates in childcare training, references from the last 5 families where I've worked, and this," she takes out a handwritten letter. "A recommendation from Mrs. Isabella, written 2 weeks before she died." Gabriel looks at her, surprised. Lucy reads aloud. "Lucy Martinez is the most caring and dedicated person I've ever known. If something happens to me, I want her to take care of my babies. I don't know anyone with more maternal instinct or more true love to give." The Child Protective Services officials listen in silence. One of them, an older woman with gray hair, approaches Lucy. "Can you calm him down?" she asks, pointing to Tyler, who has started crying again. Lucy takes the baby and begins singing softly. Immediately, Tyler calms down. "And the other one?" asks the official. Bruno, who's in Gabriel's arms, extends his little arms toward Lucy. When she takes him, he snuggles against her chest and closes his little eyes. "In 30 years working with minors," says the official, "I've never seen such a natural connection." She turns to Janet. "Dr. Valdez, I think we need to review this case more carefully." Janet understands she has lost. "This is ridiculous. A housekeeper can't raise a millionaire's children." "Why not?" asks Gabriel, surprising himself with his own words. If she loves them more than anyone in the world. He looks at Lucy. She has a tear rolling down her cheek, but she's smiling. "Mr. Gabriel," she whispers, "I would do anything for these babies." "I know," he responds, and they know it too. The officials leave without taking the children. Janet exits furiously, threatening lawsuits that will never prosper. And in the mansion that for the first time in 8 months feels like a home, Gabriel watches Lucy singing to his children. For the first time since Isabella died, he feels his babies are where they need to be, in the arms of someone who truly loves them. But the most beautiful story was just beginning. 3 years later, that mansion would witness a miracle no one saw coming. That night, Gabriel finds Lucy in the garden. She's sitting on the swing that Isabella had put up for the children she hoped to raise. The twins sleep in her arms. "Lucy," says Gabriel, sitting beside her. "Yes, sir?" "Don't call me sir, please." She looks at him with those sincere eyes that have seen so much pain and so much love. "What should I call you?" "Gabriel," he responds. "Just Gabriel." They remain silent, listening to the baby's soft breathing. "I want to tell you something I never told anyone," Lucy whispers. Gabriel nods. "Before Camilla, I had another baby. His name was Matteo. He was born at 7 months and lived only 4 days. Gabriel feels something tighten in his chest. During those 4 days, I didn't leave him for a second. I sang to him, talked to him, told him how much I loved him. When he died, I felt like a part of me had died too." Lucy looks at Bruno, who sleeps peacefully. "For years, I thought God had punished me by taking him away, until I came here and saw these babies crying like Matteo had cried." She wipes away a tear. "I understood I hadn't lost Matteo forever, that all that love I couldn't give him was stored here," she says, touching her heart, "waiting for these little ones." Gabriel can't speak. His throat is closed with emotion. "Isabella knew you would come," he finally murmurs. "In her letter, she knew you were going to love them. I love them like they were mine," Lucy confesses. "More than my own life." Gabriel looks at her, really looks at her. For the first time, he sees beyond the uniform, beyond the shyness. He sees an extraordinary woman who has transformed his house into a home. "Lucy," he says with a broken voice, "I want to ask you something. Anything. Never leave. Never leave them. They need you." Lucy smiles through tears. "I need them more." At that moment, Bruno opens his little eyes and looks directly at Lucy. He smiles. It's his first real smile. Tyler wakes up too and does the same. Gabriel feels his heart, frozen for 8 months, begin to beat strongly again. "I think Isabella is watching us," he whispers. "I'm sure of it," Lucy responds. And under that night's stars, a broken family begins to heal. It's not the family Gabriel had planned. It's the family he needed. A spring morning. The Thornfield mansion is no longer the same. The cold walls are now filled with drawings made by little hands. The marble hallways echo with laughter and running. The perfect gardens have slides and swings. And in the kitchen, which before was only used by service staff, Lucy prepares breakfast while singing softly. She no longer wears a uniform. She wears a simple cotton dress and her hair loose. On her left hand shines a wedding ring with a small but perfect diamond. Gabriel gave it to her the day they married. But it's not the ring that makes her shine. It's the happiness radiating from within. Bruno and Tyler, now 3 years old, run through the kitchen chasing Max, the golden retriever Gabriel gave them last year. "Mama Lucy!" shouts Bruno. "Tyler took my toy!" "I had it first," protests Tyler. Lucy kneels to be at both their level. "How about you share it? Brothers take care of each other, remember?" The children nod and run off, hugging. Gabriel comes down the stairs in a suit, but has loosened his tie. He's no longer the cold man from before. His gray eyes now shine with warmth. He's learned to truly smile again. "Good morning, my love," he says, kissing Lucy on the forehead. "Good morning," she responds with that smile that changed everyone's life. In her arms, she holds Sophia, a 6-month-old baby with Gabriel's green eyes and Lucy's sweet smile. Their biological daughter, living proof that miracles exist. Gabriel takes Sophia in his arms. The baby laughs and touches his nose with her little hands. "How did the princess sleep?" he asks. "All night," Lucy responds. "I think she inherited your sleeping discipline." "And your tranquility," says Gabriel, looking at her with love. They married a year and a half ago. A small ceremony in the house's garden, with Camilla as maid of honor and the twins as page boys. The wedding had been the children's own idea. "Why doesn't Mama Lucy have the same last name as us?" Bruno had asked one afternoon. "Because we're not married," Gabriel had explained. "So you marry her?" Tyler had insisted. And so, what began as an innocent question became the most beautiful proposal Gabriel had ever made. He knelt in front of Lucy in the same place where he had found her sleeping with the twins and asked her to be his wife officially. "You're already the mother of my children," he had said with tears in his eyes. "Do you also want to be my partner for life?" Camilla, now 19, studies nursing at university. She lives in the mansion and helps care for her adoptive brothers. But more than that, she's become the big sister the twins needed. "My mom always wanted a big family," she told Gabriel on the wedding day. "Thank you for giving her that." "Thank her for giving it to me," Gabriel had responded. Gabriel had insisted on officially adopting Camilla, too. Now she proudly carries the Thornfield name. "I never thought I'd have a dad again," she had told him through tears the day they signed the papers. "But you're better than my biological father ever was." In the kitchen, Lucy serves breakfast while the twins tell what they dreamed last night. "I dreamed I was flying with Mama Isabella," says Bruno. "With Mama Isabella?" asks Gabriel, no longer with the stab of pain he used to feel hearing her name. "Yes. She told me to tell you she's happy because now we have 2 mamas taking care of us." Lucy and Gabriel look at each other. He takes her hand and squeezes gently. "What else did she tell you?" asks Lucy with a soft voice. "That when I grow up, I'm going to take care of babies like you take care of us. So no baby will be alone." Tyler nods seriously. "I'm also going to be a daddy like Papa Gabriel. So no child will be sad like we were." Gabriel feels tears threatening to escape. But they're tears of gratitude, not pain. His family's transformation has been complete. Gabriel changed his work style to be more present. Now he comes home every afternoon at 5. Weekends are sacred for family. He created a foundation in Isabella's honor, dedicated to connecting orphaned children with foster families. Lucy is the program director. "If Isabella could see in me what I couldn't see," she told Gabriel when he proposed she direct the foundation, "maybe I can help other women see their own worth." In the last 3 years, the Isabella Ortega Foundation has helped more than 200 children find loving families. After breakfast, the whole family goes out to the garden. The twins run toward the cherry tree they planted last year in Isabella's honor. Under its branches is a small plaque that says, "For Isabella, who taught us that true love never dies. It only transforms." Lucy sits in the rocking chair Gabriel had specially made for her. It's the same as the one in the baby's room, but it's in the garden, under the cherry tree's shade. Gabriel sits on the grass at her feet with Sophia in his arms. "Do you know what day it is today?" he asks Lucy. "What day?" "Exactly 3 years ago I found you sleeping on the floor with the twins." Lucy smiles and caresses Gabriel's hair. "The day my life truly began." "The day all our lives truly began," Gabriel corrects. The twins run toward them with wildflowers they found by the fence. "For Mama Lucy," shouts Bruno. "And for baby Sophia," adds Tyler. Lucy takes the flowers and hugs her children, all her children, because that's what they are. Not by blood, but by choice, by love, by that inexplicable connection that happens when souls recognize they belong together. At that moment, a gentle breeze moves the cherry tree's leaves. Pink petals fall on the family like confetti from heaven. Gabriel looks up. "Thank you, Isabella," he whispers, "for sending me the most beautiful angel in the world." Lucy hears and smiles. "I'm not an angel," she says. "I'm just a woman who learned that love always finds a way to reach where it needs to go." "That's exactly what an angel does," Gabriel responds. The twins snuggle next to Lucy. Sophia sleeps peacefully in Gabriel's arms. The morning sun bathes the entire garden in golden light. And for the first time in years, the Thornfield mansion sounds like a home should sound, full of laughter, love, and the certainty that some stories, the most beautiful ones, begin with endings. The end of one life became the beginning of 4 new lives, because sometimes losing what we think we need is the only way to find what we really needed. And sometimes angels come into our lives wearing navy blue uniforms, work-worn hands, and a heart so big it can heal an entire broken family. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe again that miracles exist, share it with someone who needs to remember that true love always finds its way. Because in a world that sometimes seems to have forgotten about goodness, stories like Gabriel and Lucy's remind us there are still extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. People who love unconditionally, who give without expecting anything in return, who find family in the most unexpected places. Like this if you believe Lucy is the kind of person this world needs more of. And subscribe if you want to keep finding stories that restore your faith in humanity. Because the next story I'm going to tell you will also change the way you see the world. See you in the next video. And remember, sometimes the greatest miracles come disguised as people we think are ordinary. But there's nothing ordinary about a heart that truly loves.